Kelly Olynyk suffered an injury, but he's going to be okay. He's going to play at the World Cup, and that's significant because he's one of the only NBAers who are actually going to be there. Basically him, Corey Joseph, and a couple of guys who happen to be in the NBA but don't really have much of a profile. And one of those was supposed to be Chris Boucher from the Raptors, but he pulled the shoot today for personal reasons. And Josh Lewenberg, our Raptors and NBA reporter who has been covering camp and has been down there downtown throughout the week, joins us now. Any details on what happened here with Boucher?
Nothing, no. We just know personal reasons. It sounded like Nick Nurse was really disappointed today, as he should be. And obviously we don't know what's going on with personal reasons. You never want to ask too many questions. Of course, that's for them to divulge or not to divulge, but it seems like a missed opportunity for him. He's a guy that's sort of on the fringe of the Raptors roster. He's partially guaranteed right now, and his contract doesn't fully guarantee until the end of training camp, so they can let him go if he doesn't have a good camp. This was a chance for him to not only develop his game and show off a little bit, but also win some favor with his own head coach, and it sounded like he had a really good start to camp. So it's a bizarre situation, and one that I don't think is going to do him any favors in terms of his basketball career.
No, I agree with you. Again, without knowing exactly what happened, obviously something popped up because we were saying this before you came on. If it was a wedding or some sort of family engagement, he would have been well aware of it prior to today.
Right.
And even though I'm sure Nick Nurse publicly will say all the right things, technically he should not carry over this grudge, if that's what it is, to the Raptors training camp. He's human, and it's all about impressions. And if you're a guy who's trying to make a positive impression on your coach, I wouldn't suggest this was, the best decision for Chris Boucher. And to your point, the more he gets to play and play against quality competition and prove up close and personal to Nick Nurse that he's a guy that can be utilized, and he's got a great opportunity in terms of creating a bond with Nick Nurse. You're going to be over in China for a couple of weeks. You're going to be on the road, and a huge missed opportunity for a guy like him.
And I look at the flip side of this, who is O'Shea Brissett, another Canadian who the Raptors have also on a partially guaranteed deal. It's more of a training camp invite for Brissett. He was an undrafted player this summer. They brought him in, or they're going to bring him into training camp. He's going to compete for one of the last few spots, maybe a two-way spot. And he's in camp with Canada, and he's one of the guys that Nick Nurse has talked about as being an early standout. I thought he looked pretty good in the game yesterday. So that's a guy that, he's doing the right thing here. He's playing for what could his head coach and what could be the guy in Nick Nurse who's going to decide ultimately his NBA future, at least his short-term NBA future. And that's the exact same situation that Boucher was in, only he had a leg up, of course, having spent a year around the Raptors program and was coming off of a really good year with the 905, the G League MVP. So he had momentum coming to this camp. As I said, I think it sounded like he was doing really well. He was going to get a big opportunity here. We know Chris Boucher is not shy. Even in the small sample size we got with him in NBA games last year, he gets in the game and he's firing away threes and getting to the rim and blocking shots and all of that. A bunch of us were joking, what's the over-under for Chris Boucher in this tournament when he was going to be playing, knowing that there's not a lot of NBA guys on this team? We're thinking he could get up like 15, 16 shots a game. But, yeah, this was his chance, I think, to show that he does belong in an NBA rotation, not just in the G League. To your point, Brian, I don't think this is necessarily going to hurt him. I don't think Nick Nurse or the Raptors will go into training camp and hold a grudge as a result of this. But just because it doesn't hurt him doesn't mean it's going to help him. And I think this camp and this tournament really had an opportunity to help him, and now it's not going to do that.